Welcome back to the Jay Douglas Show. I'm Doug Edrington, and today do I have exactly what you've been looking for. It's the script that's not so scripty. So listen up. You don't want to miss out on this episode because it's going to be some good stuff. Okay, so I hope you got your notebooks out where you keep all your notes all the time when you watch these shows, because you want to make sure that you take every bit of this away, because it's going to help you get through the relationship between you and your client way faster, which is, guess what? What they want. They don't want to mess around. They don't want to play around. They want to get to their goals as quickly as possible, and you're going to get them there. So, have you heard of the acronym LPMAMA? Now, if you say you have, I want to challenge you. Maybe even just pause the video right now and say it out loud and realize, like, maybe I don't really know it all that well. I'm familiar with it. I've heard of it. And then next, I want to challenge you is, if you do know it, do you have a tactic on how to achieve each one of these pieces of LPMAMA? So if you're sitting here saying, like, what the heck is Doug talking about? LPMAMA is an acronym. It's an acronym. So write it in your notes vertically. And we're going to start at the top. It's location. It's price, it's motivation, it's agent, it's mortgage, and it's appointment. And then I like to throw in that bonus, make it plural, LPMAMAs, S for source. Because we got to know where our business is coming from. We got to thank the people that love on us. So what I want to talk to you today about is those tactics on how to do it. Is it a script? No, it's not so scripty, but it is the guideline or the outline on how you're going to get to the goals of your client as quickly as possible. So let's start. Number one, location. How are you going to help your client if you don't know where they're moving to? And let's say this too, even if it's a seller, I'm not just talking buyers here, you've got to know their goals. It's not about just putting a sign in the yard and helping them sell their house. It's about knowing where they got to go, why they got to go, all those reasons. But with location, tactic number one, I want you to write down your notes, pain versus pleasure. Pain versus pleasure. It's that simple. Because what we do a lot of times as real estate agents is we ask people what they want. You start with, where do you want to be? And then they give you, I'm cool with anywhere. We all love that answer, right? So I want you to think about the pain versus pleasure question. What I've learned, and you know this too, as just Americans, we aren't so good at telling people what we want, but we're really good at telling people what we don't want. So if you ask the pleasure question of where do you want to be, and you don't make progress, then how about you ask the pain question? Where do you not want to be? What parts of town are you not willing to move to? So, and location can mean so many different things if you look at it through different filters, but it could also mean townhome, condo, land, normal cookie cutter, that type of thing. So figure those things out by using pain versus pleasure, okay? Number two, I guess they're not numbered, they're lettered. Price, the second one, price. So with price, the tactic that I like to use is called push the limits. Push the limits. So what we're going for when I say push the limits is I don't want you to be a pushy salesperson. The goal here is to create clarity. Brené Brown, somebody I've raved about for a little while now, is a book. I saw her out in Vegas at an event that I went to recently. She spoke and it was like mind-blowing. I got her book, read it, and all throughout her book she has this statement: clear is kind, unclear is unkind. And gosh, that works in so many different ways. But for me, I'm just looking for clarity right now on price. Have you ever asked a client, what price point are you looking in? And they say, oh, I'm looking between, $300 and $350. And then you take that as their surface answer and you run with it. But you didn't actually push the limits to see what they're really searching for. Because what we all know is that they're going to tell you the surface answer because maybe they just started looking. And then they're now going to go for the first time, like really dig deep and look on their own. And then they're going to realize like what they're looking for may not fit in that price point. And then they're going to push the limits without telling you. And then now we don't have clarity. And next thing you know, you get that phone call, or maybe you called them and said, hey, I think I found you a house. And they say, well, actually this other agent sent me a house. And you're like, how did I miss it? Turns out it was in a much higher price point than what they told you to go search for. So I want you to push the limits by starting this way. Let's go down first because we want to build trust so they understand that we really are looking out for them. If they say their price point's $300 to $350, I'm going to start by saying this: may I lower your price to $299? And the reason I want to do that is there's still a lot of agents out there that are listing houses in nines, and I'd hate for you to miss the best deal over like $100 or $1,000. And of course, they're going to say that makes total sense, or they're going to tell you a story of maybe why they want to go higher. Maybe they don't want to go any lower. But then on the flip side, you ask the next question. So at 350 being your top end of your limit, if I found you a home that was priced a little bit higher, let's just call it maybe 365, would you want to know about it or would I be teasing you? And I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, they're going to say they want to know about it. And now we are starting to bring clarity and continue to push that and explain to them why, because storytellers always win. Tell them that, so often buyers end up telling me a price point and then they go search at a higher price point on their own and I don't know about it and I want to make sure that we're looking. So if anything changes, just let me know. Clarity. Clear is kind, unclear is unkind. So the tactic for price is push the limits, okay? Hope you're enjoying this. Number 3. The next one's going to be motivation. So motivation, this one's fun for me because you really get to learn about the person, because that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to help somebody solve their problems. The problems are they need to make a move, they need to make a transition, they may have to sell a house, they may not, but you just got to ask the right questions. So with the motivation question, it's just, hey, what's this going to do for you and your family when we find the perfect home? Or maybe what's this going to do for you and your bird or your cat, or whatever the scenario is. Just, you can mold this a little bit, but take your version of what's this going to do for you and your family when we find the perfect home. And then the best follow-up question ever, after they give you the, again, surface answer, is, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. And here's what I mean by that. Too often agents, when they're gathering why they're moving, they give multiple choice questions. And then the client only chooses from your multiple choice and you really don't know why they're moving. I can't tell you how many times I've heard them say, agents say, hey, so why are you looking to move? Are you trying to downsize, upsize, get closer to schools, looking to upgrade? What are you doing? And they're like, yeah, all of that, or they choose one of those. But the reality is maybe they're actually looking to make a move to upsize. Maybe they said, yeah, upsize. But what you didn't know is the reason they're upsizing is because maybe mother-in-law is moving in. There's 2 houses that need to be sold. There's a whole other story behind it. So don't ever give them multiple choice when you ask about motivation. Ask them, what will this do for you and your family? They'll give you the surface level answer. Well, we're looking to move because of my in-laws are probably going to move in with us. And you go, tell me more about that. And all of a sudden you get the whole story. Things start to come together. So motivation's huge. Okay, next one. The next letter is A, agent. There's actually 2 A's, but we're going to go with the first A, which is agent. Now, for those of you that aren't in the business, you're thinking about getting in the business, which you'll learn if you join the Association of Realtors, we have this thing called the Code of Ethics that we need to follow. And since we cooperate with every other agent out there and everybody can show everybody else's listings, there's some rules that we play by to make sure that no one steps on each other's toes. And so one thing is if there's a client relationship with another realtor, as an agent, we're supposed to, if we get wind of that or we hear that or we discover that, we're supposed to respect that relationship. And I think you should too. So one of the letters is agent. You got to figure out, are they actually working with an agent? Now, at the same time, we got to be careful because this can create like an easy out for a customer that wants to lie to you because they just don't want to be sold yet. Maybe they don't know your value yet, so they're just going to, sorry buyers if you're listening, but there's this whole thing called buyers are liars, but they also say and sellers are too. But all that is basically it's an objection, it's a no. So what we want to do is we want to figure out, are they working with an agent? Without directly asking them, are they working with an agent? So here's the tactic for agent. How have you currently been searching for homes? Okay, very simple. How have you currently been searching for homes? And if they say, oh, I've just been looking on Zillow, and you could dig a little deeper. Have you gone inside of any homes and seen anything you liked? You could if you wanted to. Maybe you don't need that one. But just how have you currently been searching for homes? Now, if they say, oh, I've got I've been looking online. We've gone to some open houses. We called a couple signs, and I've got a friend of ours that got their license a while back ago, and they've been showing us some houses too. Immediately, you should follow up with, oh, who's that? Very simple. Oh, who's that? Because if you say, oh, what's their name and what's their company and who do they work, you can't interrogate them. You just say, oh, who's that? Nonchalantly. Oh, it's, Joe Blow from Banana Real Estate. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Have you signed anything with Joe Blow from Banana Real Estate? Are they representing you? And if they say yes, then say, you know what? That's awesome that you have that relationship, and I really want to respect that. If I run across a house that I think is a good fit for you, I'm going to let Joe Blow know. And you're done, because we respect relationships like that. But most of the time, if they're calling you, they don't have that relationship. So what you've got to find out is when they say Joe Blow, and you figure out what company they're with, and then you ask them if they've signed anything, and they say no, now it's open game. It's whoever wins, right? So the follow-up question is, so let me ask you this. If I happen to find the perfect home that I thought fits you, should I send that to Joe, or should I send that directly to you? And you're about to learn real quick what the relationship between that client and Joe is, because it's not a client relationship, as our state calls it, where it's actually a signed document. It's a customer relationship where they just know each other. So you want to figure that out so you can decide if you want to pursue that client or not. Okay, so agent tactic is, so tell me how you've currently been searching for homes. So make sure you run with that. Okay, next one, mortgage. Lots of fun, really important piece, right? So let me tell you what not to do first. Don't ask them if they're pre-approved. Don't ask them if they have a letter of credit. Don't ask if they talk to a bank, because if you start the relationship off with a self-serving question that only helps you and doesn't help them, they're going to pick up on it, and you just became that salesperson that you don't want to look like. What you got to do is you got to add value. Value adding. Brooke Sherlin on the Edrington team at Berkshire Hathaway, I keep stealing this from her and I want to give her credit for it. We were sitting in a training one day and she gave me this little nugget of, are you adding value or are you self-serving? So it makes so much sense. So we started changing the way that we think and how we operate. So with mortgage, you have to educate. If you give them something of value, they'll usually give you something back. I like to give them education, so they give us back their trust, and that's what we're really looking for. So instead of diving into the mortgage things, just educate them on a process. And I like to call it stacking the cool. My dad started that forever, and I'm sure he got it from somewhere too, but it's stacking the cool. So let's just start with mortgage and say, so my job as a real estate professional is to do so much more than just open a door. It's our job to educate you on all sorts of things, on how to go see a house, what to say when you're inside it, because we all know we're being watched these days, Big Brother, and maybe how to negotiate with people and how to understanding the other agent involved and understanding the other clients involved and what history should we look up there, the contracts, the negotiations, the appraisals, the inspections, the closing, what about after the all that stuff is our job to educate you on. But one of the most important pieces to this, and probably the most stressful for the buyers out there as well, is the mortgage side of it. So Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I want to ask you something. I just want you to just take a step back and think about the mortgage process. Think, before I call a bank or a mortgage company, which one should I call? When applying, what should I share with them? Are they on my side or are they not on my side? Am I negotiating with the lenders to decide what my rates are, or what is closing cost, or what does all that even mean? And then what about the actual loan application? What numbers do you need to know during your offer process? What am I actually signing at closing? Because guess what? There's 2 pieces of paper to put the house in your name. There's 102 pieces of paper that's all about mortgage. And then when is even your first payment? And then to top it off, there's all different types of mortgages out there. There's conventional, there's government-backed programs. So I tell you all this, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, to ask you, what questions do you have, or maybe what gaps can I fill for you so you're really clear about the mortgage process? And then you shut up, because they're about to tell you everything you need to know about their financing side. They're going to ask a question. They're going to say, wow, I never really thought about all that. What are rates right now? And what I've learned is if someone asks what rates are, they probably can buy. Or if they say, well, you know what, I've never bought a home before. This is actually kind of overwhelming. That was the introduction for you to repeat everything you just said, but in detail and explain things. And then lastly, what I've learned is that people like to be referred to people great people. They don't like to be referred people because there is a relationship. And we all have relationships with lenders because we're in the business and they go hand in hand. So what I want to challenge you to think about is when you have a relationship with a lender, how are you introducing them into the world? Because I'm going to give you a quick analogy. I want you to think about this. Have you ever been at a hotel? And maybe you're at a conference, maybe you're just at a hotel and you're looking for a quick bite to eat for lunch. And you run up to the front desk and you say, hey, is there a really good place outside of the hotel that I could go get maybe a quiet lunch real quick? And if they literally pull out like that little coupon from underneath the desk and say, yeah, I tell you what, 2 blocks down the road is this place and they're really great, you're gonna take the coupon, you're gonna put it in your pocket and you're gonna be like, I don't know if that place is any good. She's getting a kickback, right? That's not the way that people like to be introduced. They'd rather hear, oh, you're going for lunch? Oh, surely you've heard about, the pizza joint just right down the road. I smell that coming in and out every single day and everybody's always raving about it. Like that's where I'm getting my actually dinner to go at the end of the night tonight. So I would go to the pizza joint. You're going to the pizza joint. So I want you to think about your mortgage relationship the same way. When you introduce the mortgage broker or the bank or whoever you think is the best fit for that client that they need to talk to, and maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or multiple people, you should introduce them in a way that most of my clients, let me take a step back. Hey, have you heard of 𝐀𝐠𝐞? And they're like, no, I don't know Susie. Oh my gosh, you don't know Susie? I gotta say that most of my clients do business with Susie. And I love running into her at the closing table because it's always a pleasant experience. Everybody always knows what's going on. There's no surprises. It's awesome. You need to talk to 𝐀𝐠𝐞. And it's the handoff of like the smell good pizza joint versus I have a preferred lender that I'd like to hand you their business card where I've written my name on the back so they know that I gave you their name. People just don't like that kind of stuff. So I want you to think about tactic with mortgage, okay? I just went deep with you there, but it's educate them, stack the cool, ask them what they don't understand. They'll tell you where to go, and make sure you refer because of success, not because of the relationship and the card in your pocket. So, mortgage, that was awesome. Last one, nope, because we got a bonus, but supposed to be the last one is appointment. This one's simple. It's just ask a choice question. Because we know if you ask a yes or no question, half the time you're going to get a no. If you ask a choice question, like, how about we meet today? Or do you think tomorrow might be better? That's a choice question. Don't say, can we meet today or tomorrow? Because that's a yes or no question. Make sure you're clear on your choice and don't give them too many choices. 2's good enough. And then lastly, source. You gotta know where your business is coming from. I can't tell you how many agents I've met, I've worked with, I've coached and trained, and I look at their CRM or I just ask them. I just say, hey, so how's things going? And they're like, awesome, I closed a deal yesterday. My first question is always, cool, where'd it come from? And they say, oh, past client. Okay, what's their name? I forgot who sent that to me. Or, oh, it was 𝐀𝐠𝐞. Okay, so what did you do to love on 𝐀𝐠𝐞? And they're like, what do you mean? That's your bird dog. You got to go give them business, right? So we got to know where the sources are, where it's coming from, and make sure you go back and love on those people that gave you business. Because I don't know about you, but I like doing business with the people that give me more business. So LP Mamas, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you watch this a couple times. And I have a feeling right now someone's watching this and their team leader needs to see it, their partner needs to see it, maybe their broker or their agent. But share the love, because as soon as we can all start learning, teaching, and giving back to each other in a great way, we're going to rise the professionalism of our industry, and we're going to get into that next level. Because I don't know about you guys, but I like to differentiate myself from all the other realtors out there, but I'd really like to see everybody step it up. So challenge yourself, get to the classroom, have a little practice so you can have a level 10 performance, and check out the next show. I'm looking forward to it. Hey guys, Doug Edrington here, CEO of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, J. Douglas Properties in Chattanooga, Tennessee. If you were thinking about getting in this business right now, I want to communicate with you. I want to get a conversation going. Also, maybe you're already in the business and you're like, man, I'm tired of trying to figure this out on my own. I'm here for you. I want to help. I'm looking for people to grow this business to the next level, and it's going to take people just like you who like this kind of stuff. So do me a favor. Click on the link and let me know what you want to talk about. We'll have a conversation, connect right away.